Afternoon, folks. This is just a quick video. I'm getting quite busy this time of year with commissions ready for Christmas, from pet portraits mainly. Obviously, we've had pets ourselves, and they are an important member of the family. And it's nice to have, it's a special sort of gift you can give somebody for Christmas, and having a portrait of the pet produced by an artist. Right, and so what I want to talk to you about really is if ever you are thinking of having this done, there are some important things that really you need to consider. You need to be able to look through different artists, different styles, what they sort of ask from the customer, um, and what they feel is important. So for me personally, I like to speak to the customer. I talk to them about, what the pets are like. Have they got any special characteristics or anything? But the main points, the real main points that I sort of focus on are the eyes, and their postures and sort of behaviors, sort of characteristic features, I've said before. Now, eyes to me are the most expressive feature of an animal or of a pet, of a living pet. Um, Unlike humans, they can't hide a lot of their feelings and what they're going through. Their eyes tell everything about their personality, in my view. And if you get the eyes right, you're more or less there anyway. So also you need things like what sort of fur texture it is. Speak to the client. Um, or speak to the artist and discuss what sort of image you want, realism, whether you want it in what medium you want it in, so whether you want it in sort of pencil or painted or oils, whichever, and make sure that the artist can do that. And then the artist will be asking you for certain things as well, which is really good, clear photographs, preferably taken outside in daylight and on a bright day, and sort of at eye level. So if you can get down to their level so that you can see clearly the nose and the eyes, because that is what is they're the main features of the animal. So if you can't do it outdoors, then the next best thing is sort of, if you can get your pet to sort of sit or stand or be near an open doorway or a window where a lot of the daylight comes in, then that's the next best thing. Also, take several photographs. Take them in the favorite position or how they usually stand, or if they've got any funny quirks or anything. And also for colouring, for colour matching for the fur, because again, in different lights, fur can look different colours. So a variety, if you can take several photographs, that's brilliant, because then the artist can sort of look at it and sort of come to a conclusion as to what the colour fur should be in what kind of light. But if you do a good photograph in broad daylight, in bright daylight, and then you can get the eyes and the nose, that's absolutely brilliant. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy to get these photographs. But we can sort of, from certain photographs, we can sort of come to a conclusion, and we take several photographs. And I personally, then what I do is I do some sketches, and I try to put some compositions, especially if there's more than one pet in there. And that's another thing you need to ask the artist. You need to know if there's extra charges for an extra pet, which usually there is. The other thing is, for me personally as well, to secure your commission slot, I do ask for a non-refundable deposit, and then you pay the balance right at the end. But during the process, the whole process, I will be in touch with you constantly, unless you request that not doesn't happen. If it's especially if it's a secret gift for somebody or something. But if there's a way that I can get in touch with you, that's better. Also, I will send you completely all the way along. I will send you work in progress pictures. So right from having a look through the photographs, picking which photographs I think will work, how I can put them into a composition, And then finally what I do from that composition, then I do a drawing or an initial sketch. So then I send that to the customer and the customer can have a look at it and check. And they'll have a rough idea from the sketch if that's looks like their animal, if it is their animal, their pet. And also, you know, you'll be able to see some of the personality coming through. But this is an initial sketch. Once that's approved, then the next stage for me is to look at the colorings, decide on color mixes so that I can get them right. If I'm painting, especially, what colors will lay well to get the colors that I want at the end of the picture. So you know, it's so for instance, I've got here, there's a couple of dogs. Whoops, there's a couple of dogs here. Let me just unplug this. Excuse me. A couple of dogs here. So I've got several photographs of these dogs, and then what I've done is I've had a look at all the individual pictures. So you know, there's sort of some of them are like this, and then there's some others. And then what I've done is I've come up with a composition with both of the pets on, like that. Okay, and then what I've done is I've then done the initial sketch. Okay, so that's a photograph of the initial sketch, which then is sent to the customer, and then the customer can see if that is their pet. If there's any alterations they need doing, they can, you know, we can discuss them there and then. They can be made, and then another sketch will be done and sent. So it's quite a long process. And then obviously I do the colour swatches. Then I do the transfer this drawing onto the correct medium in what I'm using, whether it be hot press paper, cold press paper, or drafting film or board or whatever I'm doing, depending on the medium that I'm using. And then the initial sketch is done, the colour swatches are all there, and then it's time to start. And then what happens is at each stage, what I do is at the close of play, I will send a work in progress picture to the customer. And then they can comment back if they're happy with it or if they want something altering on it or whatever. And we can discuss that at length. And then we just keep processing on. And then finally, once the piece is complete and the customer is 100% happy, if they want it framing, they choose a frame. Obviously, there'll be extra for the frame. I do actually, the price that I do quote for the pet portraits does include a basic frame. But if you want something specific, so it's usually either a white or a black frame or just a wooden, just a basic lightish wood frame. Other than that, if you want a specific frame or size of frame that's not normal size of frame, then there will be additional costs to that, but they will be discussed right at the beginning of the project. So then the image will be mounted and framed to whatever the customer's requirements are. And then once they are 100% happy, then we ask for the final payment. So that makes up to the cost of the commission. And then the commission is either posted out to you by courier, or in a lot of cases, they're collected from here, or we can deliver them within a certain area. So that's my processes for the pet portraits. As I say, I'm quite busy. I'm always busy this time of year with portraits because of Christmas holidays coming up. And they usually make a very good and a very nice unique gift for somebody, you know, who's really attached to the family member. So, or even if they've lost a pet after a short period of time, it's nice to have something that they can have to keep on the wall and to, you know, remind them of their long lost family member. Okie dokie. So that's the process I have. So if anybody is interested, if you want to pop along, you can see the details of the process on my website, which is www.deliasartroom.com. Or you can call me on WhatsApp on 0771 66 or you can just private message me through Messenger, or go along to my Facebook page, which again is Delia's Art Room, on Facebook or on Instagram as well. It's at Delia's Art Room. Okay, so you can find me on any of those mediums and then social medias, and then you can ask me any questions that you like. Okay, then. So have a good day, have a good weekend. We're lucky today; the weather's quite nice. It's holding up nice. And hopefully I'll speak to you soon. Bye.